Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Women's Empower Network. And I am so excited all the way from Germany. We have Pia with us today, and she's going to share a little bit about who she is and her story and journey that got her to doing what she's doing today. So, hi, Pia. Thank you for being here.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me. It's an honor, and yeah, I'm pretty happy to be here.
I'm glad. Yeah, so how did it happen for you where you found out that you had these unique gifts and skills?
Yeah, it was during my personal development journey, and yeah, so I started this journey, and all of the mentors and coaches and all of them pulled some cards and always worked with at least for fun or whatever, or supporting energies. They pulled a card and said things about it. And this is how I got into actual oracle cards and tarot cards. And over the time, also doing my personal coaching that I attended, yeah, I found out that I'm first of all, I was always interested in such kind of magic and tarot readings and things like that. And during my journey, I found out that it's somehow in me as well, although I never really thought that I'm very intuitive beforehand, but it's the journey that that um, put away all the layers, and suddenly it was there, and suddenly it was like in a kind of enlightenment moment or something like that, that I actually can do the things. And I, yeah, like losing all those kind of beliefs that it's not serious, or that it's only for crazy people or whatever, like all the things that people telling sometimes about intuitive people
Right.
and magical beings and things like that. So it's yeah,
So
release those layers and then embracing the gifts that I have. Yeah.
so you mentioned earlier before we came on live that you used to work for American companies. Um, and so it sounds like they were corporate jobs.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that would not be a conversation you would have in a corporate job, right?
Not very often, not very often, unfortunately. Um, luckily, oh yeah, so part-time I'm still in the corporate world. I'm currently I have both the regular corporate job, and at the other time, at the other part, my business. And yeah, there are actually a couple of people who have similar ideas, and to find that out in the corporate world is kind of tricky, because as you mentioned, it's not very often that you find people who believe in magic and spirituality and all the things. And to find that out in conversations and start to talking about things like tarot cards or something even more scientific, sound like human design or something that I'm also interested in. And suddenly you find out that the people who you don't really expect to be very interested in such kind of things are the most interested ones. Like, I don't know, like in one example, for example, one of my colleagues in working in the IT department, I would never have thought that IT guys would be interested in any kind of magic or tarot or even personal development. They just don't really look like that. If
Right.
we talk in prejudices, then this would be one of mine that I had. But yeah, somehow he is pretty interested in those things. So
That's cool. But yeah, because you
yeah,
don't know, like you said, it's not like, how's the weather kind of
yeah.
conversation, at work. It's like, oh, so, do you believe in tarot cards? Have you ever had a tarot reading, Not
Yeah.
something I think would happen. You mentioned human design. Can you tell
Mhm.
us more about what is that, human design?
Human design is so it's called the human design experiment because so I'm not an expert in that. I'm just fascinated and interested in that. Like, yeah. So don't quote on me on human design things, but I think it was downloaded by a guy named Ra Uhuru or something like that in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
And it's a combination of astrology, I think, yeah, and many others, numerology, the chakras, Kabbalah, I Ching, and things like that, and all mixed up and yeah, put out into the world. And yeah, it's for me, it describes the essence of me, how I'm designed by the universe, the source, however you want to call it, and explains so many things, how I feel, how I am, how I act. And yeah, it's like a blueprint to my true essence, you can call it. So it's very fascinating, and I'm trying to find out everything that at least what relates to me, to my design and my chart. And yeah, very interesting. If anyone is looking for something fascinating to look into it, another thing, then human design is something like that.
So it sounds like did that play a part in you becoming more comfortable with your gift of being able to read and interpret tarot cards?
Mm, it's I would say it's not the direct thing, but it's part of the basics that it needed to for me to actually come to that knowledge about my intuition and tarot cards. So it started with my personal development journey. At the same or similar time, I also stumbled about the human design, and yeah, with the realization that so many things are in my design already, and it's the way, yeah, this is the way I supposed to be, and I don't need to feel weird or alone or ashamed about anything, because this is how I'm meant to be. And with that realization, I also started to dive deeper into all the things that I always was fascinated by, but wasn't really brave enough to actually dive into it. And tarot readings and tarot cards was definitely one thing of it that I then actually started to experience more and learn about more, and yeah, so it's definitely part of the journey. Yeah.
I know it all is, isn't it? Well,
Yeah.
I'm really glad you did. It sounds like it kind of gave you permission, like,
Mm.
oh, this is how I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that.
Mm.
It sounds like it gives you a sense of trust and confidence, like
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to hide or be uncomfortable that this
Yes,
is what you came to do.
yeah,
So could you tell us a
definitely.
little bit about your practice or your business now, what you're doing today?
Yeah. So I call myself a dream manifestation mentor, and it's all about following your dreams and make them happen. And I help people to first connect and rediscover their own dreams, and eventually support them to take the necessary action to actually make that dreams become reality. And this is what I'm doing in my business. And of course, tarot is incorporated in there. So it's a unit. And yeah, this
Yeah,
is
so
what I'm doing.
it's a great tool.
Definitely.
Well, that's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. I love that because I mean, I can even remember, 20 years ago, I would be struggling to really have a clear vision of, I knew
Mm-hmm.
that I had these special gifts, but I didn't know how to use them, what to do with them. You know, like you said, we're all wired a certain way. But
Mm-hmm.
then what do you do with it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So have you ever had a client that it really had a big aha moment um, of clarity and realized it was always there?
Um, I had a couple of clients so far that had definitely some enlightening moments. Yeah, I always, it's another thing, like I always undervalue myself a little bit. So it's when I say they had some enlightened moments, then I probably mean they had such big ahas. So yeah,
That's got to
yeah,
be really
there are
nice
clients.
to witness that in somebody else.
Definitely. That's the best part of it. Like when they really, when you see in their face that it clicks right now, and then like a new world is unfolding in front of them, and to see that, that's the best part of the whole journey. When I can support them in doing that, is it's awesome.
And what's funny is that's just the starting point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just the zero, because then life starts after that.
Yeah,
That's a whole nother new
definitely.
journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Living into it.
Yeah.
Well, what would be some parting words of wisdom that you would give somebody who's kind of been wondering what they should be doing or what their purpose is? What comes to mind that you would share with someone like that?
I would say don't think too much and just do what you love to do. And the first thing that comes to your mind that you always wanted to do, but never really was brave enough to do it for what reason ever, start with that one and just do it. If you want to travel the world, then go traveling. You don't need to quit your job for good just to travel the world. You can start with one country and then another one and another one. And so don't think too much and just do it.
That's that's very, very valuable advice. I mean, we all tend to overthink everything.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to share today that comes to mind?
Um, yeah, it's I would like to share that it always starts with a dream. So if you want to connect with your dreams and dive into your dream world, and your dream is your wildest dreams and desires, then I have a dream manifestation circle upcoming on the 8th of August, Lionsgate Energy, yay. And if you want to dive into that dream world and actually feel the vibrations, the energies, the frequency of your dreams, then come to the circle and yeah, dream, celebrate, share.
That's awesome. Well, we'll be absolutely sure to put how you can get in touch with Pia above this interview, and join her circle. That sounds very, very fascinating. Pia, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.